morning, good afternoon, good evening, welcome back to my second channel. So in today's video I wanted to talk about some of the tropes that I absolutely love to see in books, and I'm going to give you some recommendations for most of the tropes I'm going to talk about. I'm sure there are a ton more, so I might do a part 2 to this when I think about it. I'll actually start making notes as I'm reading through books in the future, because there are those little, scenes, moments that I just love and eat up, but I just couldn't think of all of them. So my favourite trope has to be, even though it's not a trope, it's more of a pacing decision, but it's a slow burn. When it comes to romance, I need you to build the suspense. I need there to be either angst or tension or something happening that builds us up through this relationship, and it gives us a really satisfying conclusion, especially when it comes to sexual tension. Like, do not just wham bam thank you ma'am, insta lust, insta love. I'm not about that. So the one book I'm going to recommend for this, if you want your sexual tension to be through the goddamn roof, I'm going to recommend The Sweetest Oblivion by Danielle Laurie. It is so good. So this is also, not only is it slow burn, but it's also mafia, if I'm remembering. Arranged marriage, but not with her. Oh, it's so good. And forbidden, because technically he is her soon-to-be brother-in-law, because he's an arranged marriage, because clans and stuff in the mafia have to join, and he's like, fine, I have to marry her sister. And she's like, fine, I have to marry you. But then he takes one look at her sister and he's like, I'm having you. Oh, so good, so good. So if you like your sexual tension through the roof and you like a mafia romance, you will enjoy this. My next one is forced proximity. Oh my god, yes. When people are forced into a situation, it can be a cabin in the woods, even though I've never actually read, even though that's the example everyone gives for forced proximity. Oh my god, they're stranded in a cabin in the woods. And this, if there is a book that you know, a romance book, where there is actually a cabin in the woods and they get snowed in, my god, please send to me, especially when it's enemies to lovers and they are forced into some sort of situation where they can't get out of it. It might be a journey they have to take together, or they are literally locked away in a dungeon or something and they have to, oh, so good. If you like this trope, then I'm going to recommend When Heroes Fall by Gianna Darling. I love, it's a duet, When Heroes Fall and When Villains Rise. So bloody good, those books. Now he's mafia boss, lawyer, he's on house arrest, and he forces her to stay in the house with him so she can give him updates on the case as they go along, and it is so good. Probably one of my favourite mafia romances ever. Kind of close to forced proximity, and that is the one bed trope. Oh, so good. Oh my god, there's only one bed. What on earth will we do? I love it when nothing happens and you get that tension. Nothing sexual happens, but they are so tense because they both want it and they probably hate each other, love a good enemies to lover, and then the one bed trope and the forced proximity, and they're just like facing away from each other, but you can hear their internal monologue, especially dual points of view, and they're like, this is killing me, but no, I hate them, don't I? Yeah, right, really hate them. And then they wake up in each other's arms and they're like, how did that happen? Ah! God, I eat that shit up. Now, I don't think I actually have one. I was racking my brain because I know I've read this a million times, so I'm gonna let you put it down in the comments. I want to say Bad Guy by Ruby Dixon if you want an alien romance with forced proximity, and I'm pretty sure it's a one bed trope as well. I'm pretty sure Bad Guy is. So I'm gonna put that one up. I'm pretty sure they has both of those in it, but let me know down below. One bed, forced proximity, give it to me. Of course, I've got to say enemies to lovers. Now, I think it's the most popular trope, and not just enemies to lovers. I know a lot of people are rephrasing this now as a hate to love. So, because they're not always enemies at the start, but they might just dislike each other. So that's the thing with enemies to lovers, there's a way to do it. Sometimes it annoys me with enemies to lovers when the writing just doesn't... It's all about pacing with enemies to lovers for me. You know what I mean? And some authors just drag it out too much to the point where, this is annoying me now. They should have advanced in their relationship, but you keep going back. And why is it always the woman in the enemies to lovers that is always so annoying? And it's lovers classic, you push away your feelings, you don't want to feel them, I hate them, I love them, I hate them, I love them, fine. When it keeps going like, I hate you, I love you, I hate you, and it keeps going on and on and on like that, and you're like, stop, you're annoying, you clearly like each other, now it's, can you go to bed or something? Like, when they just take it too far, the author just drags it out too much and you're just getting so annoyed and it's ruining the book for you. It's gotta be just enough angst, and that pacing has to be so well done so you like get drawn out and the sexual tension then comes in really high, and then they go for it because they're like, yeah, let's be real, we don't hate each other anymore. But the timing has to be so good. Right, some recommendations. Pestilence by Laura Thalassa, I think I'm pronouncing that correctly. I've read the first 2 in this in the Four Horsemen series, and I need to read the third, and then Death is coming out. I don't know when Death is coming out. But Pestilence is basically, it is the end of the world, the Four Horsemen of the Apocalypse are here. You will hate him, Pestilence, because he is not good. He is here to come to the end of the world and he will destroy everything. And this woman, I think she shoots him at the beginning to shoot, and then he captures her and holds her hostage, and he is awful to her, and it is so good. I love that book. It's great. Great enemies to lovers. Kingdom of the Wicked is another enemies to lovers, but it is unbelievably slow burn, and the first one is YA. However, the new one, Kingdom of the Cursed, which is coming out October 5th. This is October 5th. Oh my god, it's so close. You know how much I'm doing a reading vlog on this book. Do not, I think you can all expect that by now. It's going to be new adult, so it's apparently very spicy. I want to see. Okay, Kerry Maniscalco, we're going to see how spicy it is. But yeah, if you want YA, super slow burn, then Kingdom of the Wicked is for you. Fated Mates. I am a sucker for fated mates. I don't know why. I just love it. There's just something about knowing, especially because I'm reading Immortals After Dark, I love it when one side feels the connection of that, you know, you are my soulmate, more than the other. And they always have to work, and you know, like, they have to work their ass off for their mate. Because one of them feels it way stronger than the other one does, and eventually they both feel it, and it's like, yay! I don't know, I'm a sucker for fated mates. Some recommendations. No Rest for the Wicked by Kresley Cole, which is the second book in the Immortals After Dark series, actually the one I started with. Not the first one, started with the second book, and that's really good. I think all of her books are fated mates in the Immortals After Dark series. And if you want an alien romance, then I've got to say Ice Planet Barbarians by Ruby Dixon. I think we've all been there by now. Amazing. All of them are fated mates in that one, so yeah. I love me a shapeshifter, there is a beast inside of me kind of trope. Like, I'm bad, but there is a formidable, ferocious beast living within me, and I've read quite a few books with this trope in, and I don't know, I just love it. Especially like, you got a romance, and the guy's all big and brooding, we love to see it, but he's also got this kind of beast within him that he can unleash, and anyone hurts you, anyone touches you, I am going to rip apart literally the universe and let my beast out to play and destroy everyone who wants to hurt you. Yes, give me the beast within. I'm going to recommend the Shadow Beast Shifter series. It is a trilogy starting with Rejected, and you do have to read all three of them. I devoured them, I couldn't put them down. You don't get to see the beast till later on, I believe, if I'm remembering correctly, till book 2 or book 3. Anyway, great trilogy, love it. And also some of the Kresley Coles I'm reading with the Like A obviously have the beast within them, which is why it made me think of it. Also amazing. I do love a forbidden / taboo relationship. Now this isn't really a trope, this is more of a sub-genre of romance. I do love it when it's a little bit forbidden. Now we have explored taboo books on this channel, and I do have a line, I have a very strong line, apparently, but I can read pretty much anything I have read. I have so many recommendations for this, so it could be a teacher-student, which you gotta be careful with. There is a line that's like, for me anyway, for me. I know Step Brothers is a massive subgenre in romance, and I haven't read any Step Brothers ones. It could just be who the two people are and they can't be together, they shouldn't be together, and having that forbidden element of we shouldn't do this, we can't do this, but we're gonna fucking do it. Oh, mwah! I have so many recommendations for this. So, forbidden / taboo, we have Dark Notes by Pam Godwin. Oh my god, an amazing story. This is student-teacher age gap, but please check the triggers. It opens with a sexual assault scene, and it's so sad. Oh my god, please check the triggers before you go into this book. There's so many. It is a dark romance. It is so beautifully written. The story, the romance, I absolutely devoured this book. It is amazing. Please, for the love of God, check the triggers. Lessons in Sin by Pam Godwin. Again, a student-teacher romance. Dark, gritty, really liked it. I'll say again, The Sweetest Oblivion by Danielle Laurie. Like I said before, forbidden because he's soon to be her brother-in-law. Born Darkly by Trisha Wolfe, where a criminal psychologist falls in love with her patient, who happens to be a psychopath and a serial killer. Then you got the very famous Birthday Girl by Penelope Douglas, with your boyfriend's dad. That kind of romance. Really good, did enjoy that as well. And Priest by Sierra Simone, which is a priest romance of a woman who is trying to find her way back to God, back into the church, meets his priest, and he is Tyler. Tyler's name, yeah. Tyler, and they fall in love, and he's a priest, and yeah. Forbidden, taboo, amazing, loved it. Didn't like where the story went, but really solid taboo romance if you want one. I love me an alpha male. A growly, protective alpha male in my romances. Not all the time, but a lot of the time. In my romances, I love a man who is pretty much dressed in 1,000 red flags. You know? The kind of man that you would meet in real life and go, mate, jog on. You ain't coming anywhere near me. But in this romance, we eat that shit up. Most of the book boyfriends I have from these dark romances, if I met in real life, I would run screaming, too many red flags. But in the romance, I'm like, So if you like a really growly alpha male, then I have some recommendations for you. I recommend the Road to Hell series by Brenda K. Davies. The first one is Good Intentions. It is a 4-book series. And yes, I loved it. Didn't need to be 4 books. I already talked about these books on my channel. Didn't need to be 4 books. It dragged in some places. Some of it was a bit repetitive, but I, again, gobbled, like the Beast Shifter romance, I gobbled it up. I couldn't put them down. All the audiobooks I think are on Scribd, and I think all the ebooks are on Kindle Unlimited. I think. You'll have to double check, but I'm pretty sure. And that was really cool because it's basically one of the gateways to hell burst open onto Earth, and demons are running wild, and he's like the king of the demons, and Lucifer isn't meant to be in his throne in hell. He is, so they have to try and get back, close the seal, and it's so good. And yeah, I just gobbled it up. And if you want, he's like the epitome of a grisly, possessive alpha male, and I wouldn't mind him. I wouldn't kick him out of bed. I'm not gonna lie. Then I'll recommend Dead Man Walking by Gianna Darling. Again, it's a dark romance. It is a part of a series, but you can read it as a standalone because I did. It's about an actual psychopath, and it's a romance. And yeah, that's all I'll leave it at. But very nice. There is some knife play in this, just as a trigger warning, content warning. You might need to know about that. And one of my more recent reads, Captive of the Horde King by Zoe Draven, is it? It's definitely got a heavy influence from Game of Thrones for a Khaleesi and Khal Drogo kind of vibe, as in some of it is like lifted directly from Game of Thrones, which I was expecting, but I really did enjoy this. Grumpy Sunshine. I love me a Grumpy Sunshine. Really do, especially if it's always in a male and female romance, it's always the guy is the grump, the girl is the sunshine. Well, no, I like you to flip that shit. I love it when the guy is the sunshine. I mean, I like both. I love both, but I love a dynamic where they can like, because then I find you get more humor and more lightness, especially in a dark story when there's a grumpy sunshine, you get those moments of comic relief and lightness from that character who is the sunshine, and when they can get that other character to smile and laugh for the first time, oh, I love it. So 2 recommendations, and we're going to switcheroo. So if you prefer the male to be the grumpy, then this is a little alien romance, and that is The Quarry Master by Amanda Milo. And if you like the female, in a male-female romance, to be the grump, I recommend yet again When Heroes Fall by Gianna Darling, because she is like Ice Queen bitch in this, and he's a little bit more bubbly and sunshine like. Okay, now I'm just gonna go on to like these, they're not tropes, but they're little moments within books that I just love, or certain characters that I love. I love the best friend. I love it when the character has a really good, especially in a romance where it's not always about them two getting together. They actually have friends on the outside that are really strong friendships, like ride or die, and they will call you out on their bullshit, like real best friend scenarios. Love it, love it. Also, I love the mentor role. The mentor that is going to be there for you. I mean, they always bloody kill off the mentor. I don't know why. I mean, it's just to break our hearts because it's the person you fall in love with. Maybe it's the one that's trained them how to wield a sword and that's how they're so deadly now. Or the one that was just really soft and patient with them and just guided them through some psychological issues and their mental health because they've been through a lot and they're always there. That kind of mentor slash best friend. Whatever it is, I love the mentor role in books. But stop killing them off. I know you're doing it because it breaks our heart because we all fall in love with them. Stop it. Okay, and a couple of moments in like romance books that I realised I really like. Now the classic one of, especially enemies to lover, maybe they're in a ballroom and a masquerade. I mean, that's very rare that you find a masked ball in any of these stories. Never done. We love it though. And they're in a room and they're not looking at each other, and it's the classic that she's not looking, she won't look at him, she will not look at him. She knows he's across the room because the hairs on her nape of her neck are standing on end because he's way too close, and she knows, and then she turns and she looks and he's already looking at her because he ain't taking his eyes off of her the whole time. I know it's done 1,000 times, but I still eat it up. Oh, and this one, it just gets me. It gets me, and it gets me when it's in enemies to lovers, when there's still so much tension, and they still haven't admitted how they're feeling. Their feelings are still growing. Their relationship is still evolving. But we eat this up. We just do. When someone either upsets or hurts our heroine, the love interest, our hero, takes one look. Maybe she's been crying. Maybe her face is all red and splotchy. Or maybe, God forbid, she has bruises on her arms or something has happened. And it's like all hate out the window. And he says the classic line, "Who did this to you?" Goes unnaturally still and in a deathly whisper, "Who did this to you?" Oh my fucking... I eat that up. Because he's about to tear apart the fucking cosmos for his woman. And they are still in that stage of butting heads in the relationship. You can definitely tell there is some sexual chemistry, there is tension, and we are loving it. And then that is that one moment when he sees her hurt and he is ready to kill anyone who stands in his way, who dares lay a finger on the love of his life, even though he hasn't admitted to himself that he loves her. He clearly does. Oh, yes. Love that moment. I mean, I don't ever want our heroine to be her, but when she is, and he finds out, and the anger from him to protect her, give it to me. Anyway, those are some tropes and little things that I love in books. Let me know what your favorite tropes are, and if you have any recommendations for the tropes I've just mentioned, they're like some of your favorite, let me know. And maybe I will do things I hate to see in books video, but I'm sure that one will do a lot better because it's negative and I know what you're all like, you're here for the tea. So I might work on that list after I've edited this. All right, loving, leaving, subscribe, like, comment, do all the fun stuff. Do all of it, do none of it, doesn't matter so long as you're happy, and I'll see you in the next one.